Welcome to Book Time with Ryan. I am Ryan, and today I'll be talking about End of a Berlin Diary. See? 1944 to 1947 by William L. Shirer. A week ago I finished part one of almost like a 2-book series, Berlin Diary. That was from 34 to 41. And that was really Shirer's diary that he kept. I don't think we got to see everything, but really kind of the build-up before World War II and then World War II. We missed a lot of it, though, because he left before the U.S. entered the war. And so that ended in 41, and then we pick up in 44. This is Easton Press. It was published in 1991 in this format. It was originally published in 47. And it is a 2-book collection from Easton Press. So I already did the review for Berlin Diary. Really like this format. I really enjoyed that book. 5 stars, and 5 stars for this too. It's same basic setup, a little different this time, obviously different time period. I do need to say that I'm wearing a U.S. shirt, patriotic, and a hat from my buddy Kyle, CG932 Massey, because if I'm going to be patriotic, boom, does it get more patriotic than Massey? I think not. All right, so End of a Berlin Diary is a little different, not only because of the time period, but also the setup. 44, it starts in 44. This is the tail end of World War II, and William Shirer is going back to Europe. Actually, no, it starts with him in the U.S., but kind of following what's going on. And then eventually he goes back to Europe, kind of retraces his path through Europe and the aftermath of World War II. And then really kind of the start of the Cold War, which was pretty quick after the war to end all wars. We also see in this book the use of the atomic bomb, and what a big scary moment that was and still is. I think one of the big differences too is that at this point he's already published or is in the process of publishing Berlin Diary. Actually, at the beginning of this, maybe he's at the end of that process, but by mid-book, it's already been published and read and a hit. So he knows that format and that approach works and is successful, and I think that's part of why he's doing a similar thing in this book, but it's a little different because, one, the awareness that it could be used for a future book, End of a Berlin Diary, and also because he uses a lot of materials that aren't his own in this. He references different documents that were uncovered in the fall of Nazi Germany and kind of tracks what happened in the war after the fact through those documents. That, we're told one thing, we're aware of one thing because of propaganda during the war, but the reality of what was happening in Germany, even the reality as it was kind of supplied to the Germans, was very different. And it's a rough look. It really, World War II is horrible. The stuff that was done by Nazi Germany was horrible, and I don't think he shies away from a lot of that. But he also really looks into the fall of Hitler and the divisions within the higher commands and his kind of most trusted advisors and aides and generals and admirals. And so we get to see that. And there's a lot of that's not necessarily it's kind of when those documents are uncovered, not necessarily when they have, not when they happen, because a lot of the documents cover before the war. And I think it's really interesting. I think it's definitely not, it doesn't have that feel of like being unaware of something in the moment. with the exception of the Cold War stuff, because I don't think he has any idea at this point, 47, where that's going to go. But you definitely have more of a feeling that he's writing with the idea that it's eventually going to be a book. And there's obviously stuff that he leaves out, personal stuff, just about living. But I feel like he's writing more in this book with the idea that it will be available at some point. So making more connections between his past and things that were covered in Berlin Diary, and then his current, which is more of what he's seeing now and relating the two. And he does go through places that he covered in the first book, and now they're just rubble, and talks about that, almost kind of those like looks back on what things used to be like. And the other thing I think is interesting is that it really going forward and what kind of government was forming in Europe and in Germany, and how many Nazi sympathizers or Nazi supporters or even Nazi members made up the new ruling class there. How things were just kind of ignored or forgotten in some way, even kind of security apparatus that was set up after, and how there are sympathizers or straight up Nazis that came into positions of authority, and in some of those situations also abused that position for future actions, including abusing some of the same people that were abused initially. So we're looking at a crushed people, the Germans losing their Second World War in 50 years, and just what that looks like for them and how to avoid a World War III. That's it. End of A Berlin Diary. Very good. Read Berlin Diary before you read End of A Berlin Diary, but they're really, really great books, and I definitely want to read more about World War II. That's it. Thanks for being here today. I will talk to you